Right, over the next few weeks in art, we'll be learning about some famous artists. We'll be looking at their work and expressing our opinions about their art. You will also be thinking about your own artwork, which you're going to produce over the next few weeks, and forming your opinions about that too. Today, we're going to be learning about the artist John Constable. Constable was born in a village in Suffolk. He was a second son of Golding and Anne, who were wealthy corn merchants. They owned Flatford Mill in the village. Leaving his school in Dedham, Constable joined his father in the corn business. When he was younger, Constable travelled the countryside surrounding his home on sketching trips, and these landscapes later became the focus for much of his art. In 1799, having worked in the corn business for 7 years, Constable persuaded his father to let him pursue a career as an artist. He was given a small allowance and entered the Royal Academy schools. When he left there, he decided to become a professional landscape painter. Constable was largely self-taught, and he was influenced by Dutch painters. He's best known for his landscape paintings in Dedham Vale, which is the area in which he grew up. His most famous painting, the Haywain, which I've circled here on the slide, was completed in 1821 and is now exhibited at the National Gallery. The Haywain was one of 6 large canvases depicting the area around Flatford Mill in Suffolk. Despite his artwork attracting huge sums of money, Constable was not financially successful in life and struggled to gain recognition from his fellow painters. He was not elected into the Royal Academy until the age of 52. He died in March 1837, aged 60, of apparent heart failure, and was buried with his wife. Right, this sketch here is called The Heavy Horse at Rest Beside a Plough. It apparently inspired John Constable to paint the Haywain 5 years later. In his studio, Constable painted this oil sketch of the Haywain in 1820 from the pencil sketches he'd previously completed outdoors. And as you can see, it's still quite rough and ready, and it doesn't resemble the final painting as much as you think until you see what it looks like when it's finished. Constable finally completed the painting in 1821. The Haywain is a famous oil painting which portrays a real scene on a near perfect English summer's day. Constable shows this by using natural light and painting realistically from his previous sketches of the scene, which I showed you. In this painting, the artist painted nature with mainly natural tones. There is contrast in the textures created between the pool of water, which you can see there in the foreground, the tall, delicate trees, which are in the midground and in the background as well, and the strong brick house to the left. So there's lots of different textures there, which you can see all those different elements in the picture. One of Constable's favoured techniques was to create light on water by using white paint as a highlight. It's important to learn how to offer opinions or evaluating on different paintings, which we will be doing over the next few weeks. So things to think about really are technique and effect. How the colour is used. Is it bright or is it a more muted colour that blends into the background? The materials, pencils for sketching obviously, it could be charcoal. Painting, it could be using watercolour or oil. And then we look at composition. What's the scene actually made up of? What's in it? So I'm going to give my opinion of this painting. I like this oil painting, partly why I chose it, because the colours used really bring this scene to life, making it very realistic. There's good balance of light and shade. The overcast sky gives light to the picture, as well as the white paint, which is used to highlight the side of the house there you can see on the left, and the riverbank in the foreground. But to contrast that, he's actually added patches of shade which is obviously near the trees, and also to the areas in and around the river. So artists' work can inspire you. It can give you ideas of their techniques and what their compositions, and you might even use them in your own work. Here I have split the hay wain into 3 parts, so you can concentrate on a smaller section of the painting for your own sketch. So the first part of the task will be that you will need to choose one of these and produce a pencil drawing using lines, shapes and cross-hatching for shade. So I've just shown you my sketching that I've done, broken it down into really small steps, so you can see the different stages that brought me to my final sketch, which is down the bottom there on the right. And with sketching, it obviously needs to be quite soft lines. Never ever press too hard and end up with a thick black line, because then that's going to be harder to mask when you're trying to do your shading. So always soft lines. To give you an example of how the lines, shapes and cross-hatching might look, I've included the sketch that I did of the house. Generally, to evaluate any art, it's important to point out what you feel has been done well and what could have been improved on. This will help you actually develop your art skills. You must clearly explain your reasons why you have those opinions. That's really important. So I'm going to evaluate my sketch so that you have an idea of what I'm expecting. I was pleased with the cross-hatching that I used to represent the shaded parts. I also liked how the proportions of the house turned out, as they matched the original painting quite well. However, I feel that I could have improved on the shapes I used to represent the leaves on the trees, so that they probably could have stood out a little bit better against the cross-hatching. Now, this is an optional task. That means you don't have to do it unless you want to. I know there's some keen artists out there who may want to do this as an extra task, and that's great if you do, but it's not compulsory. But it gives you a chance to experiment with colour. I've just used the Apple Pencil on my iPad and coloured my sketch in. So I'm going to evaluate my final picture now. I think the colour really brings this picture to life. The colour made the leaves on the tree stand out a lot better than it did compared to my sketch. Although I like the colours I used, it was difficult to match them exactly to the hay wain because the colour palette on the iPad is more limiting. So if I did this again, probably next time I would change the material. So I'd probably use oil because I could mix the colours up really well, and it would probably be a much closer match to the actual painting. So just to go over the task again, you will need to choose one section of the hay wain and produce a pencil drawing using lines and shapes with cross-hatching for shade. You can always look back at my examples just to give you an idea. Once your sketch is complete, evaluate your own work by writing which parts of your sketch you are happy with and which parts could have been improved upon. It's really important that you explain why really, really clearly. Then you're going to write your opinions of John Constable's hay wain painting. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. Yours might be totally different. You may not even like the painting, but it's entirely up to you. But I would like to hear your opinions about it. Can you please make sure that all your work is written in full sentences and fully punctuated? I look forward to receiving your pictures and your evaluations. As I say, you are welcome to message me, and I just hope you have fun with it.